This house makes roughly $30,000 in cash flow a year, while this house lost me over $100,000. On paper, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference, but this one requires 0 hours of my time and I sleep like a baby, while this one required 40 hours a week of my time and left me in constant stress. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to actually reach financial freedom through real estate investing and avoid the common traps that newbie investors lose all of their money in. Let's start off with talking about the 3 real metrics of building wealth and passive income in real estate investing, which is ROI, ROTI, and ROE. Let me show you on the whiteboard. ROI stands for Return on Monetary Investment. ROI is basically the vanity metric that gurus will use to sell you their courses. It tells you how much money you made, but it conveniently hides the fact that you aged 10 years in the process and are basically a slave to your rentals. ROTI stands for Return on Time Invested. Basically, how much money am I getting back for the number of hours that I'm putting into my rental business? Finally, we have ROE, which is Return on Energy Investment, and is the #1 predictor of long-term success in real estate investing. Of course, we want to maximize all 3 returns. However, the most important metric is not the one that most real estate investors focus on. In this video, let's focus on maximizing the one metric that separates real estate investors who are able to create passive income and have financial freedom versus the ones who build a second job for themselves and eventually burn out and quit. And that is ROE. The idea of having a high return on energy investment is essentially this. You treat your energy and health as a limited resource, and you measure how much you're getting back for how much energy and stress you're putting into your rental business. The key to wealth and success in real estate is pretty simple, and I'll summarize it by this formula on the whiteboard. The formula to success is that you need to have a high ROE strategy, plus the right system, plus time, and that equals success. Here's the thing, most beginners don't quit early because they ran out of money. They quit early because they feel burned out. They feel that the juice isn't worth the squeeze anymore, and their return on energy invested is nearly 0. So let's talk about how to find a high ROE strategy. Here are some examples of typical popular strategies right now and their ROI, ROTI, and ROE profiles. Let's play a quick game. Go ahead and try to guess what popular strategy this is based off of just their profile. And I'll go ahead and give you a couple hints along the way. The first strategy on here has seasonally high income or ROI. However, it requires a significant time and energy investment to maintain, which means that your ROTI and ROE are low. If you guessed Airbnb, then you are correct. That's because Airbnb is mostly vacation homes, so your ROI depends on what season that you're in. You also have to clean the Airbnb constantly and frequently message vacationers on the app. So it's very time and energy intensive. The second strategy on here can potentially give you a very high ROI, but it really depends on the market conditions. It's also a huge time investment for several months because you have to essentially babysit contractors. If you guessed house flipping for the second strategy, then you are correct. I'll tell you the story of my very first house flip, which was essentially the lowest point in my whole real estate investment career. I got sued by a contractor that didn't even finish the work that he told me that he would do. Here's how my dream flip project turned into a 16-month nightmare, and what you can learn from it, of course. I purchased a house to flip in Cleveland, Ohio. And my original contractor quoted us $100,000 to complete the whole project. However, after thinking it over, which happened after we already bought the property, he said it would instead cost us $175,000, which was almost double his original quote. By the way, this is super common in flipping where the contractor will go over budget because there's so many unknowns on a project. I felt betrayed and I didn't know what to do or who to trust. I had to call over 40 contractors just to find one who had a more reasonable pricing to get the project done. Unfortunately, he took 16 months to complete it, and the worst part, this general contractor sued me afterwards for lost wages, even though he didn't do a large amount of the work. Overall, I lost over $100,000 on that flip project. I see it as tuition paid to the School of Hard Knocks. Flipping wasn't investing. It was just a second job that I really hated going to. And I paid the bill so that you don't have to. Despite flipping houses having a potential for high ROI, it will always have low ROE and is really only for people who want another highly stressful job managing adult daycare for contractors. Now, the last profile on here is my favorite and how I built a multiple six-figure rental portfolio in a couple years. It's the rent by the room student housing strategy. Let's go over how the rent by the room student housing strategy maximizes all three wealth metrics. First, we have high ROI. You have double the amount of rental income compared to a normal rental property because you're essentially renting out the house as a multi-unit property. And a lot of times you add those extra bedrooms, and every extra bedroom you can add increases your cash flow. Then it also has high ROTI. Because I have so much cash flow, I can pay one of my tenants to be kind of the house tenant or house mom or house dad so that they handle dividing up the chores, taking out the trash, lockouts, and resolving any tenant drama. Or if you don't want to pay your tenant to do it, you can have a local handyman or realtor do that job for you and pay them on a per case basis. Finally, we have high ROE. Students will typically refer their friends and other student colleagues over to your house if they enjoy staying there. So a lot of times you don't even have to worry about having vacancy. Usually half of my tenants come through student referrals alone, which means less stress for you in the long run. Parents will also co-sign on the leases, so you don't have to worry about unpaid rent. Because what parent is going to want to stop paying rent for their child and then risk them getting evicted from where they're studying at school? Instead of having to worry about unpaid rent, you can use that energy to focus on finding your next cash flowing student housing deal. In reality, to build your own real estate empire, you really just need three things: the right strategy, which I believe is student housing, the right system, and the resilience not to quit. The only reason you would quit is if your energy runs out or your ROE runs low. So protect your ROE at all costs. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share with others who are really interested in getting started in real estate investing. And if you're thinking, Ryan, this sounds amazing, but don't I need like 10 or 20 rentals to actually retire and have financial freedom? The answer is no. You actually only need 5 rentals. Check out this video right up here where I explain how you can use just 5 rentals strategically to replace your W-2 income and create financial freedom for you. Go ahead and click that link and I'll see you in the video.